Good morning students of class 7 Oak. Welcome to your e-learning class. Today I thought that I would do literature, okay, because we have been doing grammar for the last few classes. So let us start with a new chapter today, that is Shivi, okay. It's a very fun and short poem that you have in your book, page number 69. So open your book, page number 69. Okay. So let us begin with this short poem that we have, Shivi. Okay. Now see, this poem is something which applies to all of us, okay, especially to you guys, that means pre-teens and teenagers. Sometimes it becomes very difficult for us to lead a normal life because our parents or our guardians or say our older brother, older sister, somebody who is above us in authority is always constantly nagging us to do something. Okay. So, it becomes very difficult for us because if all the time somebody is giving you instruction, then what happens? The quality of your work decreases, right? Suppose throughout the day if somebody goes on telling you go study, go study, go study, you feel like studying is such a chore. Okay, you feel that it's a difficult thing to do. That's why you don't like to do it, right? So Shivi means, the meaning is already given in your book. Shivi means to nag. Nag means to continuously go on saying something. Question answers? I didn't discuss the question answers, did I? Fine, I'll give you the question answers in the e-portal, okay? You try to attempt the question answers, they are quite easy. You attempt it on your own, but I will give it to you. In a day or two, I will give it to you. Because your PT1 exam could not be conducted yet, I have not given the question answers. The question answers are very easy, fine. 4 question answers are there. We will do it, okay. Today or tomorrow I will give it to you. In a few days I will give it to you. See, do you want me to discuss the question answers of ashes that made trees bloom before I proceed with this poem? If you want that, I can do that as well. Shall we discuss the question answers of ashes that made trees bloom first, then proceed with this poem? Yeah. Because the question answers are very, very easy. Okay, 4 question answers are there only, and as I saw the question answers, like what evidence of his kindness do you get in the first 2 paragraphs? In the first 2 paragraphs we get a few evidences. The first evidence is that he used to treat his pet dog in a very kind fashion. He would always give him some food to eat, he would cuddle him, make him feel like as if he was his own child. Okay. Then you will say how the farmer used to turn up the sod while he was going to his farm so that the birds or the crane who were there, they could eat something, they could eat the worms from the ground. Okay, this evidence you can see, and then you can see that the old man used to treat everybody in a very kind fashion. Okay, they were very kind to the animals, to the birds who came his way. That is good enough, that's an answer. The next question is, what did the dog do to lead the farmer to the hidden gold? The dog tried to get the farmer's attention by pulling at his dress, I think. Let me see. Whining and running. Okay, so he came running to him and he put his paws against his legs and motioned with his head to some spot behind. So he gesticulated or gestured towards the old farmer to follow him to a spot behind. When the old farmer did not respond to him, the dog started whining and running to and fro, okay. And then the old farmer understood that the dog is trying to signal him towards something. The next question is, how did the spirit of the dog help the farmer first? The spirit of the dog helped the farmer by telling him how to make something out of that palm tree where he was killed and buried. Okay, and he showed him how he could get gold from it. He didn't tell him directly that he will get gold from it. He gave him an instruction that make a mill and make a bowl out of it, mortar out of it. Yes, here. He instructed the farmer to cut down the pine tree which was there over his grave and make from it a mortar for rice pastry and mill for bean sauce. And as the old man followed the instructions, he and his wife got a fortune. They got a treasure of gold by doing that. This was the first thing. How did it help him next? Next, the dog again appeared to him in his dream. Okay, in a kind of dream, the dog spirit again appeared to the old man, and in the next dream he said that asked him to go to that wicked couple's house, and from that place take the ashes of the mill which they had burned, and those ashes, whenever they would sprinkle them on the withered trees, they would start blooming again. Okay. The old man followed the dog's instruction, as a result of which he and his old wife as well as the whole other villagers, they witnessed a miracle. That means the dead, withered, dry trees, they suddenly started blooming. Okay. And the old farmer also was able to impress the king, or I think what is the name of the king given here? They are called daimyos. Yes, the daimyos, as he was passing by their village, the old man was able to even impress the daimyos by sprinkling the ashes and giving him a magical spectacle. Okay. This earned him a lot of appreciation and treasure from the king. The last question is, why did the daimyo reward the farmer but punish his neighbor for the same act? The daimyo rewarded the farmer because the daimyo was impressed by the magical spectacle of the trees blooming to life, the withered trees blooming to life. Whereas the wicked farmer, when he tried to do the same thing in front of the daimyo's procession, it did not result in the same magical spectacle, but rather the ashes irritated the eyes of the daimyos and his wife and the whole other people who were following them. So they were so angry with the wicked farmer because he sprinkled dusts on their faces without the same result. Okay, so because the outcome of the two events, though the two things were the same, the outcome was different. That's why the wicked farmer or the wicked old man was punished, whereas the good old man or the kind old man was rewarded by the daimyos. Okay. So these answers are very simple, and I wish that you all will be able to do this on your own. Someone is shouting. Let me see who is shouting. Nobody's mic is on. No. Okay. Did all of you get the answers as I told you? Did you understand the answers? Only 4 answers are there. All of you will be able to write them on your own. So I will just be asking you to upload your answers, and if you are unable to answer them, then obviously I will help you to write the answers. Now in the first comprehension check of this same chapter, you see, why did the neighbors kill the dog? This is very easy. They thought that the dog would help them to get the treasure, just as the dog had helped the kind old couple. But instead the dog dug the ground and took out a dead kitten. This made the old couple so angry that they ended up cruelly killing the dog. Okay. Number 2 is mark the right item. I am discussing the first comprehension check of ashes that made trees bloom with you. Mark the right item. The first question is, the old farmer and his wife loved the dog. You can say, see, 2 answers are quite appropriate. The old farmer and his wife loved the dog, as if it was their own baby, and as they were kind to all living beings. Both are correct. Both are correct. You can mark either. Okay. Number 2 question is, when the old couple became rich, they lived comfortably and were generous towards their poor neighbors. So 2 answer will be C. Okay. The next MCQ is, the greedy couple borrowed the mill and the mortar to make a pile of gold. Okay, number C, a pile of gold. Understood? So these are all very easy. I think you can understand. Can we mark the answers on the book? Yes, of course you can mark it on your book. So tell me students, were you able to understand the answers that we discussed? I think that you have I have already seen you writing answers on your own. Some of you always give me answers. So I think you have the ability to write the answers on your own, but even if you are not able, I will give you the answers. Okay, but first try to write them. I discussed it, keep it in your copy. Okay. So let us come back to Shivi. I've got 5 minutes left with you. I'll just be going through the poem once today. So as I was telling you, to Shivi means to nag somebody, to continuously tell them to do something. Okay, going on telling them that do this, do that, clean your room, that means obviously our parents tell us these things because we are often lazy. We are often not active enough to do all this stuff, right? But what happens is that for children, for pre-teenagers, for teenagers, this constant nagging makes it very difficult for them. So some of them becomes like rebels. Some of them becomes rebel who shouts at their parents, which is not good at all. And some of them become too much introvert. Okay, that is, they just go on hearing everything without actually processing it, as if their mind blanks out whatever words comes out of them. So both these two poles, both these two ways in which children are affected are not proper, okay, are not acceptable. So there should be a balance maintained between how to give instructions and how to nag somebody to do something. But obviously it's not our parents' faults all the time. We are also very lazy sometimes, like you all. Okay. So grown-ups say things like, speak up, don't talk with your mouth full, don't stare, don't point, don't pick your nose. Okay, so grown-ups, it can be any grown-up, it can be our as teachers, it can be parents, it can be our older brothers, older siblings, it can be an aunt, it can be an uncle, it can be a friend. Okay, those who are grown-ups, they always say things like speak up. That means don't always keep things inside of you, but try to speak up. Okay, whatever is troubling you, speak up about it, or speak in a louder voice. Don't talk with your mouth full. This is when you are eating, don't talk. Okay, then don't stare. Don't stare means don't stare blankly. Some of you have this habit. Whenever we take classes, some of you are just staring blankly into space, thinking of something else completely. Even in your own house, suppose you have got a book in front of your eyes, but your eyes are there, but you are thinking of something else. So you are staring at the same page for say 1 hour. Okay, so sometimes the grown-ups might catch you doing that and say don't stare. Don't point. Okay, that means don't point with your fingers. Don't pick your nose. That's a very bad habit. Sit up. Say please. Okay, sit up means sit straight. Say please. Whenever you want something, whenever you request somebody to get something, then you have to say please. Okay. Less noise. Don't make so much noise when you are playing or doing something. Shut the door behind you. So all these different lines in the poems are actually instructions which are said by the grown-ups. Okay. Don't drag your feet. Dragging your feet is again another habit which is associated with children. Okay, whenever they are walking, they are making this kind of sound and walking with dragging their feet. Dragging their feet, not walking in a proper fashion. Okay, that is very irritating. So the grown-ups often instruct them. Haven't you got a hanky? That means suppose you wipe your face or wipe your nose or wipe your mouth using your shirt sleeve. Okay. So that is why your grown up might tell you, don't you have a hanky? Take your hands out of your pockets. Take your hands out of your pockets. Okay, that is, don't keep your hands inside the pockets. Pull your socks up, stand up straight. Pull your socks up. Why are your socks loosening all the time? You should stand up straight. Okay, you should pull your socks up, you should stand up straight. Say thank you. That means whenever you get something from somebody, you should say thank you. Don't interrupt. Okay, that is, when we are talking about something, suppose the grown-ups are having a grown-up discussion and you are just interrupting that, you are saying your own opinion for them, then the grown-ups may say, don't interrupt. No one thinks you are funny. That means don't make lame jokes. Some of you also have a habit of making jokes, right? Some of children, it's very natural that you guys might have a habit of making a joke out of everything. So maybe the grown-ups might say, don't make a joke because no one thinks you are funny. You are just making lame jokes. Take your elbows off the table. Again, another habit. That means while having food, some of us keep the elbow on the table while having our food. That is not the proper way. You should keep your elbows off the table, and this instruction might be given by one of our grown-ups. That means one of our parents or anybody else. Can't you make your own mind up about anything? And this is the last instruction that is given. That is, can't you make up a strong opinion about anything, or can't you decide anything? Suppose your parents take you shopping and you can't decide what to take. Then your parents might tell you, can't you make your mind up about anything? That means, can't you make a proper decision? Okay, so here we come to an end of this very short poem. So today we would be stopping over here. Next day again I will discuss this poem and we can discuss the question answers as well. Okay, I hope all of you understood the poem. Did you have any difficulty in understanding this poem? Shut means to keep shut. Where do you get shut? Shut means to close, right? Shut the door please. It means close the door. Any other problem? Okay. Thank you students for today's class. What is the meaning of urge? Urge means to push somebody to do something. Okay. Urge has different meanings, but here it means, that means here the question, to continuously urge someone to do something. To continuously push someone, ask someone something. Okay. Here it means that. Any other queries? Okay. Thank you students.